and welcome to the delegates in the larger group watching this online. As Stephen said, we're Veeam. I'm Rick Vanover, and I'm also joined by David Hill. Good morning, David. Thanks for the early push.
Yeah, good morning.
So this is going to be a good start to our day. David and I are going to basically give you an overview of both of Veeam, but also our plans for these 2 hours here today. So let's jump into it. So what we've planned out for you today is a journey. We feel that a lot of organizations know about Veeam, but maybe don't know enough. So I've got an all-star squad here for you. I've got myself and David, but I've also got Melissa and Kirsten, and they're going to team up with me, and we're going to rotate through across our day today, and you can find that on the Tech Field Day page. We got profiles that'll be up there once the content is up for replay. But we're going to go through an overview, and that's where we are now today. We're going to then talk about a new enhancement coming, object storage. We're also going to talk about a new release of a very cool product, Veeam One. Melissa and Kirsten are going to give an exclusive view of this upcoming release that's never been seen publicly. Tech Field Day 22 is going to be the first place to see it. Then I'm going to talk about a secure Linux repository, great way to fight ransomware. Then Melissa's going to talk a little bit about our orchestrator product, and David's going to round it out with our Kasten story, a new acquisition. So some of this stuff is maybe things that the viewers and the delegates have heard of, but our number one goal here is to really build awareness of where we're going here at Veeam. And I know it's early, but for the delegates, I want to ask you all a question, and feel free to go off mute and reply. What's your perception of Veeam, right? When you hear Veeam, what do you think? I'm going to try to get the engagement going early. Anybody have an idea?
It's really been an interesting journey, if I talk personally, I started with Veeam in 2008 when it was WinSCP, VSCP or whatever, and seeing the company grow from a tool for ESXi into a major, one of the biggest data protection vendors, data management vendors, is something absolutely astounding. So that's the way I perceive it now. You would have asked me 5, 6, 7 years ago, I will tell you Veeam is more SME. No, I will tell you it's more in the enterprise segment. It's established, it's here.
Oh, that's why you're a delegate, because you're smart. I like that. Anyone else have a perception, or just even if you don't know anything about Veeam, that you'd like to share?
You guys always on top of your game, and that's what I like about you. So like now, hearing about Kasten, getting into the Kubernetes world. You started out with, as Max told already, SCP and VMware, moved into the Microsoft realm, and from there move into the Kubernetes realm now as well. So you're always on top of your game, and I really like that.
Well, I try, Arjan, and nice to see you here as well. All of these delegates, right? A lot of these, myself and the other Veeam people have known for a while, and it's great to reunite. And I feel like it's a long road, but a small world. And, a lot of the communities that we reach, they really have an opportunity to be introduced to Veeam or any other technology brand. But does a company change? And I think some of the things that Max and Arjan just shared, I have identified what's going on, but any other delegates, anything else you'd want to share, especially maybe someone who's not familiar with Veeam? I'm doing my best to watch Twitter too, so you can also throw those out there. But anyone else have a kind of a perception they want to share?
So it's Bruno Wallman here. I'm completely new to Veeam. I've seen the name out in the industry. My background is 100% networking, switching, routing, firewalling, and stuff like that. So nothing on the server side. So this is, I've heard the name. This will be completely new for me.
Great. Actually, that's what I was wanting, Bruno. So thank you for sharing that. And the battle that I fight every day, as well as my team, is introducing Veeam. And that is where I want to pivot to not just what we have been, but also what we are becoming. So great, Bruno. Thank you for that. So we have a very clear mission, objective, mission statement. This might be my first tattoo, whatever you want to say. But our goal in the market at Veeam is to be the most trusted provider of backup solutions that deliver cloud data management, right? It doesn't say be the best VMware backup toy. It doesn't say be the best SMB tool for virtualized platforms. This is a very broad-reaching mission charged on, and what you're going to see through those agenda points today, we're actually transitioning, and you're right in the middle of it. And David will talk a little bit about what we internally call Act 2 that will help kind of visualize that. But there are 3 points of this I really want to highlight. Trusted. If you think about what you ask of a backup product, yeah, there's a lot of trust that's put in it today. So data being backed up, there's a certain trust part of it, whether it's, call it digital transformation, and now we need this data a lot more. Call it high expectations, the best RTOs, RPOs. There's a lot of trust that goes into that. And then the cloud data management part, that's where, especially when you think about some of the things I'm going to demo, that David's going to talk about, you can really bridge the gap between this perception to where we're going. So this is why we're in business, and I feel we're doing a good job. And if you don't think we're doing a good job, let us know. But the thought here is that we really want to bring this type of experience to the market. So that being said, a lot of people know us for a VMware backup. And, in Bruno's case, maybe he just knew that one word, backup. Great. So what are we backing up, right? So I'll be realistic. We can't be all things to all people. And I think that's important today. At Veeam, we don't have much in the area of networking backup. I mean, we can back up over these networks, or same thing with like very advanced use cases like IoT and things like that. We start looking for the data lakes and things like that to back up. But the reality is that this platform has grown over the years. If I was having this conversation with you a few years ago, it would be really focused on virtual platforms and really focused on storage systems. But today, and when you look at the cloud, software as a service, and applications, and I would put the Kubernetes investments that we're making in there, as well as established enterprise apps, SQL, SAP, Oracle, and a number of others. But when you look at this top line here, this is a platform where we have different levels of capabilities for every one of these. I'll be the first to admit that. In fact, just yesterday, I think it was yesterday, no, Tuesday, we had and David will talk about this, one of the cloud products release, which addresses new services in the cloud. A lot of opportunity there. Last week, Office 365 had a major release, our version 5, right? So nothing but opportunity in the cloud and the SaaS and the app space. Done an incredible job in the virtual space, physical space. I even throw file servers up in the mix, right? We do some amazing things with NAS backups now. But in the middle of it, of this hamburger, people come to us for backup. Make no mistake. When I talk to organizations, they introduce Veeam for the problem to solve being backup. Now, up the stack, monitoring, analytics, orchestration, and data reuse, those are what I like to call the finer points of life when it comes to backup. These are things that if you have a good backup engine, you can do amazing things. And then this like southbound experience, APIs, deep integrations to storage systems, to object storage, to service providers. You really open up an incredible set of opportunities here at that fundamental value of taking a backup and having the recovery that you need, whether it's DR, whether it's migration to the cloud, migration to another site. The computer I'm talking to you on right now, if I needed to, it could be a VMware virtual machine, or it can be an Azure VM in just a few moments. I mean, just to open up the possibility of what we're doing here. That's the Veeam Availability Platform, and there's a number of products that do that. But this is really taking that mission statement, that vision that I had on the last slide, to starting to practically apply it to some of the different areas of modern IT. And so I'm going to have a few moments here for delegate comments here in a moment, but I want David to join me here because this Act 1, which is the left, this is where Veeam was born, right? VMware backup, Hyper-V backup, this channel sales operation, a lot of that hasn't gone away, but we've built on it. And so, David, you've joined and your skill set aligns to what we're doing in Act 2. Tell me how we're pivoting as a company.
Yeah, so a lot of the capabilities that Veeam are focusing on now is around the hybrid cloud. So when you look at what's happening, certainly in the enterprise data center, is people aren't just building out a single data center or 2 data centers and just doing disaster recovery between them. With the explosion of the public cloud, a lot of people now are moving workloads to these cloud environments to help the scalability of these data centers. And that's posed a real challenge, not only for the enterprises who are actually leveraging these, but also people like Veeam who traditionally protected workloads. In the vSphere days, we knew what people would have. Everybody standardized on a platform. You know, you either went Hyper-V or you went vSphere, or maybe you had a bit of a mix, but it was easy to get access to it. You had access to the IP APIs. With the public cloud, it's been a bit more of a challenge. So where Veeam's going now with the Act 2 is changing its model to be able to span all these different environments, whether it's AWS, Azure, Kubernetes, but also changing the way that it can actually license the products as well. And that's a very interesting angle, and we'll talk about that later. But from a cloud native perspective, Veeam's been very busy over the past year, pretty much a year to the date when we launched Veeam Backup for AWS back in 2019, when the world was rosy and everybody was just kind of carrying on as normal. We launched Veeam Backup for AWS version 1, which provided you with the ability to protect your EC2 instances, offload those out to S3 object storage, and be able to manage those workloads. As of 2 days ago, we launched Veeam Backup for AWS version 3. So you can see in a year how quickly Veeam's actually iterating on its product releases. And then we also have things like Veeam Backup for Azure, where we're very similar to what we launched with Veeam Backup for AWS, where we can protect our Azure VMs. We can do file level recovery, so you don't have to restore the full VM. We can actually extract the files out of those and provide like REST APIs for automation. I'm going to talk about later on Kasten by Veeam. So we recently acquired Kasten. This is complete native Kubernetes protection, providing you with things like multi-cluster support as well. So as Kubernetes grows and scales, you don't have one cluster. It spans across multiple platforms, multiple data centers. And then in this Act 2 as well, we've got coming soon, we have Veeam Backup for Azure version 2. So this will actually natively integrate with Veeam Backup and Replication. So we already have that capability with AWS. So you can actually leverage Veeam Backup and Replication to manage all your workloads from the Veeam Backup and Replication console. Application-aware backups, very important when you think about protecting databases and things like that. And then you can definitely see where we're going when we're talking about Azure and AWS. We will also be having coming soon Veeam Backup for Google Cloud. So very similar to Azure and AWS version 1s, cloud native, protecting the GCP virtual machines and instances, being able to provide things like cost forecasting, which is very important in the cloud, and bringing that integration into Veeam Backup and Replication so you can actually manage your workloads and move them around.
Yeah, so we're on a journey, friends. Amazon, Azure, Google Cloud, the Kubernetes native space. We're going to take the rest of this time to show you part of that. And for those watching online and for those the delegates, you know, you can always go to veeam.com for the latest on what's going on.